Against this right back, Charlie's definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Good times being Arsenal fan, eh? And we're live, people. Deluded, I'm back again. Hope this weekend was great for you lot. I hope this week and I hope Monday has started in the best possible way for you and your loved ones. Hope you lot are all in good health. And as usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And of course, in some cases, good night, depending on where you're tuning in from. And also, obviously, the time of you watching this. Do me a favor, smash the like button. Again, I don't want to exaggerate because you know, we've become accustomed to this and I'll take it. But literally from August up until this point, so the 16th of March, because that's literally the season played. Every game's a cup final. Every game's a must win. This is make or break. But in many ways, it kind of is. You know, if we kind of cheat a bit and use the weekend, obviously, big up Everton and David Moyes, you know, historically, you know, a big club in the Premier League. Big manager, they made it difficult for us. Don't know why. Big up Jordan Pickford because he was having a decent game. Don't know why he downloaded the Ramsdale trait, but I'm thankful for your kind of effort for the first goal. And then, you know, a bit like Emi Martinez a couple of years ago, you've gone up trying to chase an equalizer with Everton. Max Dowman has, you know, had his most significant moment probably as a professional footballer. Now he could actually say it could have been Anfield, could have been making his debut in an Arsenal shirt. I think people forget he came on at Anfield, you know, at this moment in time. Obviously, you look at Max Dowman, the ability's there. Yes, we need to. I'm not even going to do all of that. We all know when it comes to young talent why you need to be careful. But in a day and age where there's not too much space, where, you know, both managers are, well, 9 times out of 10, you know, in our case, Arteta versus whoever he plays, it's a tactical kind of battle. There isn't too much space. Both managers kind of cancel each other out. Max Dowman's like a secret weapon. You know, there's for obvious reasons. We all love players that come through our academy. We all love players that are not overruled by the occasion. The lad just goes out there and plays football. You know, obviously, he still needs to add certain things to his game. He's not, you know, consistency. He's got to develop physically. He's got, you know, get a tactical understanding, which clearly Arteta has an amount of trust in him. As I said, regardless of the game, however it panned out, a 16-year-old playing at Anfield is massive. So in many ways, him playing at the Emirates, bearing in mind he's played in all competitions, isn't really anything. But he's almost like a secret weapon. And what I mean by that is you probably just tell the lad, obviously there's things he has to do tactically, but go out there, have fun. Go out there and do what you do in training. Go drive past players. Go provoke havoc, provoke fouls. Obviously, he's put the ball in the mixer. Shout out to all the finishers. Big up Glockeres for getting the first. And it's a fantastic moment for the young lad. And that's the part he's going to play at this moment in time. Again, there's probably some claims from some. Do you start him against Leverkusen? Let's all calm down. If I'm honest, he's the most exciting attacker I think we have. You know, Saka on his day does his thing and he's got the inevitability and all of that jazz. But yeah, staying on task. This is a massive week for Arsenal Football Club, man. Like, this is an important 2 weeks. Like, we did cheating, but we did what we needed to do at the Emirates against Everton. The Premier League is relevant, but irrelevant for a second because we got, after the international break, first game Southampton in the FA Cup. You know, it's 1-1 and it's all to play for tomorrow against Leverkusen. We will have a live reaction stream after that game. And I don't need to tell you lot or bore you lot or explain to you lot why Sunday is massively important. I'm 30. I actually never seen my team win the League Cup. And also it's been filled with more L's than whatever. Of course, you know, a trophy is a trophy. We've been starved of that. We want our boys to pick up as many trophies as they can, itch those monkeys off their back. And obviously, if there's a parade in May, and we all want the Premier League, but if there's some trophies to accompany it, we're laughing in it. So yeah, man, it's an important week. Final time for Saka to show up. It's time for everybody to show up. But you are looking at your talisman, someone who's technically our captain at the moment, owing to Odegaard's absence, man. Not too worried about tomorrow. I'm as worried, as nervous, as confident as I always am. You know, Leverkusen equipped themselves well. We all know in the Champions League, every game we've played up until that Leverkusen game, it was great. We're barely conceding. We still haven't technically lost in the Champions League. We're winning games. the way the European side set up, it kind of bodes well for our entertainment and being excited. But Leverkusen did their homework. Deep block, low block, that kind of cripples us. We're going to have to find a way. We do it against teams. They do it against us. Everton were a stubborn unit. I do think Arsenal have an issue creating and converting chances just generally this season, regardless of the statistics, and this is why I'm even more onto Mikel Arteta to do things in the attack, because we're up there for goals. We're top 3 for goals in all comps and whatnot. I think we got 100 plus, so that puts us up there with Barca and all them teams. Obviously, we do our thing from set pieces. We're 3rd in the Premier League for goals from open play. We play the highest line in the Premier League. We face the lowest lines of defense. So simply put, they're closer to goal. There is something there for us, people. But we found a way to make it happen against Everton. As I was saying, I think we've got a chance creation and a chance conversion problem. Against Everton, I won't quite say we're creating a bag of clear-cut chances, because that's something we need to improve. But owing to what we've seen this season or in recent weeks in the Premier League, I do think, with that tax in mind, I do think we were doing that against Everton. We were getting shots away, but there were low-quality efforts. We weren't putting the ball in the back of the net. Calafiori probably should have scored when Zubamendi could have had a tremendous assist. Of course, we found a way. We found a way against a low block and a deep block, stubborn side. We definitely should have had a penalty. I'm not begrudging Everton, because you got to get as you live, but when we lose games, everybody wants to talk, especially Arsenal fans, wants to talk about the penalty shouts and set pieces. The penalty shouts and time wasting and things. So I think it's important that we mention that against Everton. The game's the game. If the shoe was on the other foot, and we have to time waste at times, but you could see Mikel Arteta animated doing this consistently. We obviously had the pen shout. Those are controllables we cannot control in it. Like it's up to the ref. Control the controllables. We kept the clean sheet. We scored the goals. We got the 3 points, get out of there. I know Arsenal fans, we're not necessarily, and this is why I think the world painting narratives, because I just don't understand why, pardon me, people are too concerned with my football club, and people can't understand where our Arsenal fans, or generally me and maybe a few of you, are, in a sense of course, we don't really, again, we don't care about entertaining no rivals, no one that's not connected. Quote unquote, entertainment is a subjective factor, innit? I could tell you, I don't know, like, RIP my nan, she used to love watching Colombo. I found it boring. I can't tell her that's entertainment. I mean, that's not entertaining. You get where I'm going. Entertainment is subjective, but I do think people have an inability to understand, do we want more from our attackers individually in the controllables they can control? So Saka, Gyökeres up until 2026, Eze step in the right direction against Everton, but performances, yes. But we also understand that for whatever reason, we can be vexed about that, demand Mikel Arteta to do this, to improve at that. But where we're at, if we're winning games and we get over the line, we're cool with that. I'm yet to see an Arsenal fan that has said they're happy or whatnot, but narratives are going to write themselves. And where it comes to football, for all clubs, I just think this white and black rage bait analysis, one-upsmanship, tribalismness, we can't just talk about ball like at its purest level. It's never going to change people. So us football purists, I think we have to get out of it, if I'm honest. Don't worry about tomorrow. We hardly lose at home. Listen, I hear you. That should give us confidence. We're going to need the Emirates rocking and whatnot, but we have to take that. I'm not saying you're not saying this simply, T, but you have to worry in a healthy way. You have to worry. You have to be scared. You have to be paranoid. I always say if the individuals 11, they all stand up to be counted, win their individual battles, the collective takes care of themselves. And what you want to do is obviously win the game, but go out there, score a couple goals, dead off the game, kill Leverkusen's optimism, fun day out at the Emirates or night out at the Emirates, bit of optimism going forward, innit? Because we're in a better moment than City. We have to take City seriously in what's left of the Premier League. As much as I'm excited, it's not over until it's over type stuff. Pep Guardiola's giving them a day off. Psychologically, they're not united in a sense. And I don't mean they're not all fighting, but they're in a bit of problems. We're not necessarily like that. What I also don't want to happen is we have to take it to extra time and penalties and all of that. That's going to take a lot of minutes out of the legs going into Sunday. Obviously, plans very rarely go to plan, but you can get where I'm going. My voice was gone all yesterday. That Everton ending was magical. These are the moments. We need to create more. I miss Mourinho because Trossard was doing it up until recent, but I do think there's many things that separate good teams from great teams. Now, if I look at my team, Arsenal, in the last 4 years, we're a good side. we're a good side. Like, we can defend, we can score goals, even though we're not been happy. It's a difficult day, whether you like Arteta or not, whether he wins, loses, or draws. He's gone to toe with good managers in this country and in Europe, and we've equipped ourselves well. We're yet to be embarrassed. But what beyond the obvious, like for me, from going from a good team. Because if we want to just be a good team, we're all right, little title challenges. If you can bag a couple, two, great, all of those things. If you want to go from being a good team to a great team, you have to chase the illusion of perfection. What we're good at, it's irrelevant. Take the good and bring it to a next level. Address the evident areas that need to be addressed. But also think a good team, as mentioned, creating in it. And I'm not expecting you to do this all the time, but there's never a bad time to score goals. This is why I'm so big on taking half chances. If we use the Everton game, for example, Calafiori bags, Eze bags, there was a lot of shots off target, but these quote-unquote half chances separate the good teams from the great teams, away from silverware and accolades, but also it opens up games for us. And one thing I like about Marino is, he might not be a traditional scorer scoring all the time, but you'll be hardly pressed to find the time when he scored. There's never a bad time or a good time to score goals, but he scores a lot of clutch goals. Real Madrid nicked us the game against Leicester away from home last season or season before. I might be making that up. I'm sure he did. Scores a lot of clutch goals and takes half chances. I think that's what our boys need to learn how to do. Take a half chance. It's falling on your left. Buy yourself a touch. Bang. That's kind of what we're going for. Big up, DJ. I can't lie that down with you. I watched his highlights for your academy, and what I'm seeing in the men's game, he looks promising. It's a long career. There's going to be setbacks. He's not right now. I said it with Saka. I said it with Smith Rowe. I've said it numerous times. You're at the honeymoon stage, innit? Where everybody loves you. You get it? Like, you can really do no wrong. There's going to be times where his form's going to fluctuate, where he's missing chances. He's at where he needs to be at. The things he needs to improve is what you'd accustom with a 16-year-old. I mentioned the Liverpool game, I remember that game. The game was dead by the time Dowman came on in it. And in many ways, that told me that Nwaneri, Dowman's ahead of you in the pecking order. And also Arteta's kind of given up. But if you go and watch that game, you see how when he got the ball yesterday, he tried to take his man on and he did well. Against Everton, he took his man on. Go watch that Liverpool game again, Kirkes has just clamped him, like, welcome to the Premier League. Those are the kind of things that obviously he needs to improve. So he is promising. He is doing his thing. I can't quite say don't put expectations on him, but I do think some young players are exceptions to the rule, and I'd be amazed by the time he's 18. I'm going to even be conservative. I was going to say 17. If he ain't been capped by this country, it's crazy. Obviously, if he just types his name in, if I certainly would on Google if I was Max Dowman, you'll probably be, there's probably some journalists saying England call up, generational talent, this, that, and the third. I don't know him personally, but it's well known in the footballing world that he's got a great family around him. He's a very level-headed guy. Like, from people I speak to, you wouldn't think, I'm Max Dowman, I just scored in the Premier League. He's very cool, willingness to learn. Don't think he's achieved anything, yada, yada, yada. Nobody can prepare you for playing Premier League football, especially in this day and age with social media and whatnot. But he's had to deal with expectations from young. He made his under-18s debut young. He's made his, he's played up the age groups from time to time. People have been kicking him his whole life, and he's going to keep getting kicked in it. So, man. But Dowman is next up. Well gone for Nwaneri. I just think for Nwaneri, he just needs game time. You could be sold. Dowman's probably the one Arteta's betting on, and probably a pathway. Like, obviously, if we fast forward to the summer of 2026, right, it's going to be numerous players are going to be linked with coming into my club and obviously leaving. But you would imagine there's a decision to make depending on offers of, and obviously what you want to do around the squad of, for example, a Martinelli, a Trossard, Gabriel Jesus, getting him off the wage bill has to be a priority. It's relevant but irrelevant. But Fabio Vieira, Reece Nelson, I think if Nwaneri is genuinely seen as a central midfielder, which is the noise we heard, and we know he can play in a couple roles, you've got to be able to, you need a pathway in it. I think Norgard and Kepa are going to leave in the summer, especially if we win silverware. Not because they're not happy, it's just you lot were playing week in, week out at your other clubs. You're not doing that now, and I just think your career short, you're towards the end of your career, you might want to go and do that, especially Kepa, because he's been at big clubs. He played for Real Madrid, Arsenal, and Chelsea. So there's a decision to make. But if I just stop rambling, smash the like button. I think it's more of a pathways thing, because whether I like it, you like it or not, if we're in this win now, we can't really live or die by young players' performances or results. Obviously, you've seen several experienced players make mistakes, not just for my football club, in the whole Premier League and Champions League and whatever, and that will happen. But I always give the example, if we're fighting on all comps and we've got 10 games to play and the games are coming thick and fast, they're going to bet on the experienced man, innit? Like, for example, Hincapié, Calafiori, if there's 10 game stretch, they might give you 10 different 6 out of 10 player ratings. And Miles Lewis Skelly might be 20 out of 10 one week, 7 out of 10 the other, 2 out of 10 the other. You get where I'm going. And obviously, experienced players go through bad form. And I did say this in August. I told man I don't think it's a youngster thing. I did say Wanyeri probably goes on loan in January, but I did think he'd feature a bit more. I did think Miles Lewis Skelly will be it from the bench. And I still believe he should, and Norgard really, get a bit more minutes. You get where I'm going. So it is what it is. I think it's more of a pathway, because if you do the maths, whether I like it or you like it or not, obviously you've got international footballers on X amount of money, brought in for X amount of money. There is a political kind, anyone that understands ball, there's a political kind of aspect around that. It's easy to leave the young G's out. Even Max Dowman, like, he's 16, he's still learning. He can come in and out the side. I'm not saying I want that, but he could be in and out the match day squad. Wanyeri was obviously a lot of the times left out. It's different because he's at the other end of the spectrum, but Norgard's being left out. Miles Lewis Skelly's obviously on the bench, but you get where I'm going with that. But for Wanyeri, if he's seen as a centre mid, Arteta once said he could be a striker. And you know what? I remember when Foden played as a false nine. Could that be something for Wanyeri? Because Arteta's also described him as, don't quote me, I'm sure he either said he's the best finisher at the club or one of the best, but if he's genuinely seen as a central midfielder, whether I like it or you like it, he's dependent on spots opening up. Either spots opening up or the manager just betting on him. Like, yo, you're my guy, you're going to get a bust. I always say, and you're not just going to get blank 10 games to start in it, but for example, the gaffer just says to him, yo, Wanyeri, you got 10, these next 10 games you're playing, you're starting, you're getting a lot of football. By the end of the 10-game stretch, I'm going to know everything I need to know about you. If you play well in your first game, don't get excited. If you have a stinker, don't get excited. But I need to see what's going on. And then if you deep it, Norgard can barely get a game. He's going to bet on Norgard, isn't it? Like, Norgard is ahead of him in the pecking order. Marino is ahead of you in the pecking order. Kai Havertz is ahead of you in the pecking order. 60-odd million summer edition. Eze is ahead of you in the pecking order. Odegaard is obviously, and these are all competing with each other. Odegaard, our captain, is ahead of you in the pecking order. And there's probably 1, 2, and obviously you've got Zubamendi and Rice. If you're going to play, I'm saying all the guys that are going to play in the 3 positions, in it. So that's issues. The pathway is blocked right now. Hincapié and Calafiori haven't put a foot wrong at left back, rightly or wrongly for MLS. If you consider him as a midfielder, I don't know if Arteta does, the pathway is blocked. Wanyeri, we've made the midfield comparison. Right wing, Dowman's coming now. That's something that could be utilised. Or the best example is in the summer, Noni Madueke, whether you rate him or not, he signed for 50-odd million, innit? So, yeah, man. We've been robust this season, solidity first, missed the flair and intricate footy, but we are winning by any means, and it's taking us to the promised land. It's got to get us over, man. But I'll be real, Dowman was a game changer for you, man. If you didn't get subbed on, long day for you, man. It is interesting to see Arteta taking a risk. And I have to give the guy the credit, because for a manager to handbrake up and he's this, that, and the third, that's what you need your squad to do. Like, obviously, Dowman has done what a number of guys, whether we rate them or not, have done off the bench. There's been a lot of guys that have come off the bench and they might have got a goal, they might have got an assist, they might have got us back into it. This is why they're called finishers, isn't it? Not just even Everton. Gyökeres has come off and done off the bench and done well. Hincapié has come off the bench and done well. You get where I'm going. But as much as people are quick to criticize the gaffer, at the end of the day, fair enough. You know, Everton's, you know, you look at Everton's away form still, but going into the game, you look at, although recently we've done better against Everton, I'd probably still say they're a bit of a bogey team. Definitely when Arteta's been our gaffer and against Sir David Moyes. At that moment, there's like 10 minutes to go. We know what it means for the Premier League. He's brought him on in far from ideal game states, innit? So that's testament to the gaffer and testament to Max Dowman, man. 3-point collectors. Some clubs lost 3 points and their transfer rights. Has anyone seen John Obi Mikel? Because, you know, you called Arsenal cheats. I've seen the Chelsea news that's come out. That is in relation to when you as a player and won stuff at Chelsea. So, listen, I'm just an armchair expert. I'm just a football fan. I don't know anything. I haven't played under Jose Mourinho, played for Chelsea, won all the stuff you did at John Obi Mikel, but you're very frontline when it comes to Arsenal matters. So I just want to know, as a novice seeking expertise, I just want to know what you have to say about that Chelsea news, because I ain't seen you on TalkSport. I ain't seen you on your podcast. I need to know what you've got to say. That's it. Hey, if we get past Leverkusen, Bodo Glimt makes me nervous. They are sneakily good. Listen, anyone that's still in the Champions League, they've got to be taken with the utmost importance. Nems, one love. Hey, Nems, what happened yesterday, bro? What going for Florian Wirtz and them, man? Yeah. Couldn't beat Spurs. You couldn't beat the Stag. Crazy. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate Gyökeres this season? Personally, I'll give him a gracious 6. Has scored some important goals. What's 15, 16 goals, all comps? I mean, we'll be here all day talking about Gyökeres, but if I just speak for myself, I thought it was I understood the excitement around, I would say, Zubimendi, Eze, and Gyökeres, because they were like level raisers, game changers, guys that are going to play week in, week out. I do think I said in the summer as well, I gave the guy a tax. There's certain things that he can't be excused for, the certain things he can. At this moment in time, I don't feel any attacker we're gonna sign, we sign or play, you're gonna see them like as good as you've seen Saka over a few years, or as good as Dowman could be at this moment in time, or whatever with whatever player. I do think there's some stuff Arteta needs to do from a tactical front to simply unleash these attackers and allow them to put their best foot forward if we're just focusing on the attacking third of the pitch. So I do think there's that. There's obviously the low block tax for every attacking player. And I know for a striker, like, go through the league. Obviously, man are scoring goals in that, but being a striker out of the front three positions, 4 if you want to say 10, is probably the I won't say the least enjoyable, but for want of better terms, the least enjoyable, because the wide men get more space. They get to run. Arteta's system, our fullbacks get more freedom. As a striker, you got to fight with the centre halves. You're playing in mid and low blocks, so you're outnumbered anyways. You got to drop deep. You got to work the channels. You're almost a sacrificial lamb. That happens with Sesko, and actually Carrick and Mikel Arteta. That's how you can kind of get goals as a striker when the game's a bit open, tired legs, 60th odd minute. Man are coming on and feasting a bit, and Gyökeres has done that a couple of times. I also think there needed to be an exchange rate as well, because we all know, with the greatest of respect, the Portuguese league to the Prem, their currency isn't as strong. So there's that. There's the attacking tax of Arteta. There's that exchange rate. And I also feel when you have the numbers you have at Sporting, and we've been crying for a striker, people are just going to see the numbers and expect it all to transfer and whatnot. Obviously, he never had a pre-season. I do think generally with a lot of footballers, you have not give them grace, because it don't mean 6 months you can just mess about. But you look at some of the players that are Premier League legends, their first 6 months in the Premier League weren't anything to scream and shout about. I don't know if you call him a Premier League legend, but potentially City. I remember Leroy Sané's first 6 months in England. Like, it was dead. Ironically, when they played us, he scored and then he kind of kicked on. And I admire his determination, man. I don't think his head's dropped. I think, he's worked well off the ball. I think, he's never going to be the most beautiful footballer, and he's obviously getting the goals now. I give it a 6, because I do think it was a culture shock signing for Arsenal. Like, I look at the little things, like anytime he scores now, straight away he's celebrating. I think it took him a minute to, like, yeah, I'm an Arsenal player, if that makes sense. What needs to happen for you to feel like we have bagged the league? Mathematically impossible for any team bar Arsenal to win the Premier League, man, if I'm honest. Remember, Wilshere had his legs destroyed for having talent. Yeah, but the surgery fucked him, really, or not having it at the time he should have. And you know what? Sometimes that might just be your story, man. Big up, DG. Has Marcel appeared since the Liverpool game? You know he ain't, man. Yeah, I hear it, but if you, man, move on Skelly and Wanyeri, does that not help give conviction for that youth pathway? It does give conviction, because not everyone's going to make it here. And at the end of the day, obviously, them man would have won a Premier League title. Obviously, I don't know how to work for Wanyeri, but they're competing in and amongst other players. They would have showed the successful pathway. Lewis Kelly's been capped 6 times by this country in 12 or so months. There is a pathway. You look at him, you look at Balogun, you look at Joe Willock, you look at Iwobi, look at Smith Rowe. Obviously, he's not playing week in, week out, but you look at Reece Nelson, there is a pathway. Then, obviously, you can look at Abakayo. And again, I don't want Wanyeri or Skelly to leave, but if our academy can produce players that we like what we want with Miles Lewis, Skelly, Wanyeri, and Dowman, and Marley Salmon, for me anyways, in that they stay here and they're regulars, or if they're sold on for profit, great. And obviously, as much as I'm saying it's not a youngster thing, Arteta has played in the last 2 years. When you think Miles Lewis Skelly, you think the Haaland thing. Wanyeri's biggest moment was obviously there. The man were playing in the Champions League. Max Dowman is the youngest Arsenal player. He's got all them youngest stats. He's played in the Champs. He's played at Anfield. Again, I keep saying it, he's played at Anfield at 16. Like, you get where I'm going. He obviously played a couple games, started in the FA Cup. Obviously, the biggest standout moment is Everton, and the Everton game at the Emirates. That's up there with Danny Welbeck's moment, Reece Nelson's moment, Gabriel Jesus' moment, Thierry Henry's moment when he came back against Leeds. He's in Arsenal folklore. It's the thing of dreams, man. Not everyone can make it, and unfortunately, what goes against Skelly, Wanyeri, and a bit of Dowman, if we eradicate talent, sometimes timing is everything. Like, obviously, it's a lot more difficult breaking through now if you're a defender and you're looking, and there's, just using this as an example, there's a Saliba there's Gabriel Magalhaes, there's Timber, there's Calafiori, versus a few years back when you've got a 90-year-old Lichtsteiner. You got, with the greatest respect, I actually liked him a David Luiz, a Socrates, etc., etc. And that's the only thing I like, because when Saka had to come through, we quickly got into that scenario where we're living or dying by your performances, really. It's either if you're going to do this thing or not, slightly even Martinelli. So it's nice to see young players be young players, but that's something that's going to go against all managers. You know, I've been calling for Rio and Ngomoma to start for Liverpool a lot more. Think about everything Liverpool's gone through and the frustrations of Gakpo with some Liverpool fans for Rio to get a start yesterday. And I know you get where I'm going. That's something that's going to shake all of these players. You know, Regan Heskey, son of Emil Heskey at City, baller. Can't for the life of me make out why he ain't featured a bit more prominently. You're at City, though, and this is something that's going to kill all of these young players. And it's weird because in many ways, I do think young players in the Premier League will get more opportunities because you need a bigger squad. Whether they, you know, sometimes they'll probably get into that, you know, when you're traveling, you've passed the under 21s level, you're in the first team, but you're not quite there. A lot of them won't go out on loans because the fixture list is unrelenting. You know, again, we're just seeing expansion at club and international level. But you get where I'm going, man. Great questions off the bat. Why did Wanyeri need a loan, but Dowman doesn't? How does Wanyeri feel watching Dowman get minutes? I mean, you could be a bit jealous, but it's different. Dowman don't need to go on loan right now. You're 16 years of age. Like, you don't really need, there's not a pressing need for you to go out on loan. I called Wanyeri's purely because I thought you would get left out the side. You know, I thought, you know, tactically, again, if we look at the spine of our side, what? You would say what? Gabriel Magalhaes, Saliba, Jurien Timber, Raya, and throw Rice into that. There might be a couple of other Saka, etc. But if we just use them names, that's the spine. All the other players, you could say Odegaard, but all the other players are tools in a toolbox. You know, Marino, Kai, it might not be pretty. They're options in midfield. Norgard's not going to play prominently, and he's going to play a bit of a bit part role, but he can come inside and play when need be. Rice and Zubamendi the same. Right wing, you've got Bukayo Saka, so it's peak for anyone anyways. Then you've got a Noni Madueke who's obviously come in. The Odegaard role, you've got Odegaard, Deneze. It's just not happening. So he's probably looked at it and said, you know what, I gave it a good crack. Haven't really had a look in. You know, I've tasted blood in terms of first team football and playing against City. I want to go out on loan. And in many ways, I don't think it's wrong. For me, I would have kept him, but I don't see an issue with him going out on loan. Now, of course, he's not pulling up any trees at Marseille, but that's what you need. Because I do think when you come from the academy, you're training, you're playing, you're getting bit part roles. I'm not saying they don't, but it don't feel like reality in terms of football, like Marley Salmon, baller. But as a defender, you need to get cooked. You need to be outside your comfort zone. I guarantee if you ask him, that mistake against Mansfield in the FA Cup, purely from just playing, he's learned more, you know, than he would have at academy level. It's like transitioning from the academy to first team. It's almost like being a swimmer, innit? You can do all the theory. Oh, you need to swim like this. There's front ways. There's backstroke. You got to look at the current, the deep end. You study the water. You do all of that. At some point, you have to jump in. You have to jump in, get wet, and it is what it is, sink or swim. So I think it was more Wanyeri wanted to go get low, man. He can get that 7.5 by the end of the season. You're talking about Gyökeres. To be fair, I didn't rate Gyökeres massively as a signing, not because I thought he'd be poor, but because what team gives us space? Our striker needs to be good in tight spaces and have a good first touch. He was 0. DG, do you know our injury situation besides Marino? Is anyone out for a long time? Haven't seen White, Odegaard, or Jesus for a while. You throw Timber in, we'll go over it. Honestly, out of my depth, mate, don't know what's been going on. And for the last few months, Tom, you've been here, I've quickly came to the conclusion, because we're not working at London goalie or anything. For me, anyways, I just wait till match day. Whoever's starting is starting. Whoever's in the bench is not is on the bench. All the others, I don't know, man. Gyökeres aim for 25 goals, all comps. So what's that? 9 more? If he's on 16, my maths is poor. My biggest problem with Glock is the timing of his runs. He needs to watch Giroud's film because he was a master at it. I mean, Giroud at technical level is way better than Gyökeres, isn't it? To be fair, though, I do get it, culture shock. You need to do things a lot quicker in the Premier League, but he does make runs. A lot of our players do make direct runs, and whether it's low blocks or our players, they don't hit them. Do we not think 1 year in MLS have space with players like Norgard, Marino, Madueke on our team? They do, in my opinion, but you see, that more happens when you go through the season and there starts to be injuries. Because what I mean by that is August, the conversation starts at many clubs and our club. Oh, right, who's in the starting 11? Who's on the squad? Who's on the bench? Whoever's not on the bench, their days are numbered. Then as the season kicks on, bearing in mind, we've been dealing with injuries since August, or you could even say pre-season, bodies start dropping. This one's suspended. This one's having a setback. This is why you need depth. And also, to be able to just develop away from Arsenal as well, I also think is good, man. When Yeri needs regular minutes, apologies at his age, Dowman is fine to make cameos. Like, to me, I like Noni, but to sell Wanyeri and keep him, really, would you try Dowman? Yep. Because I wanted Wanyeri to go on the left. I wanted Dowman to go on the left. Yep. 1,000,000%. They can go do their thing, bro. They can go do their thing 1,000,000%. Obviously, we know that's not their strongest position, but just learning, innit? Because, sorry, I know Arteta's not Arsene Wenger, but Wenger used to do that, bro. He used to do that with Iwobi, Wilshere, Ramsey. A lot of them guys that end up playing centrally, he'd put them out wide. So you have you get a new appreciation of what that position entails. You obviously have to think a bit more because it's not your natural position. And just because, bro, I do think we overcomplicate this thing. If you can play on the right-hand side, you can play on the left. Now, obviously, there's common sense that needs to be applied with that. But yeah. But for what it's worth, I don't think Dowman's going to start left wing ahead of Trossard or Martinelli on a consistent basis anytime soon. But quality player. Good analogy for Ethan. Loan is far better than just doing academy at this point for him. It's there. The academy football don't prepare you. Lewis Skelly might get 1-2 minutes at under 21s level this season, owing to just keeping fit and cobwebs and that. But once you get to a certain age, like, it's a bit weird because Dowman's not the best of example because he's gonna have to get some under 21s minutes. He's not gonna play every game for Arsenal, but at some point, if you're Marley Salmon or an attacking player, if you're faster than everybody, stronger than everybody, there ain't really nothing on the line in under 21s. You're not playing in a stadium where you make a mistake, away fans are on you chanting your shit. It don't prepare you for that. Now, it's never going to happen. But for me personally, I genuinely believe this country needs to take a leaf out of Spain. Like, academies, like Premier League clubs, slap them in League 2, League 1, Championship. They can't get promoted. But they're in those leagues. So then these kids are playing at senior level because that's what they do in Spain. And that's going to help these academy ballers because they understand psychologically. Academy football psychologically don't prepare you. Of course, there's serious things, but it's very different going from academy football to, I don't know, you're going anywhere in the top 5 leagues or the Championship where this one's trying to chase promotion, this team's chasing promotion, this one's trying to win the league, these lot are getting relegated, there's pressure on the manager, players are playing for contracts, all of these like the real working world, if that makes sense. It's like, do you get where I'm going? Good evening, DJ. How are you this evening? I'm great, man. It's always here to be good with you. Got 5 aside in a bit, but other than that, we're all great, man. I thought Odegaard, big up Karma, by the way. I thought Odegaard and Timber were out for the next game. I didn't see what injuries were listed. It looks like they are, man. Do you not think Timber will be back for the weekend? I think try Max in the 10 and Eze on the left. I'd love that, but these kind of things, my boy, with everything to play for, I'm not saying it couldn't help us, but they're not going to happen anytime soon. For me, Timber, my only illogical saving grace with not being at London Coley is cool. Leverkusen is too close for you. It's touch and go, and we're gonna see what you're looking like on Sunday. But I also have to hope for the best, prepare for the worst. So for me, it's becoming: is it Benjamin White? Is it Mascara? Now Timber's got a lot of minutes, and really, we've kind of overplayed him. See, it felt like to me, anyways, the minute he came back from that ACL injury or whatever it was, you're playing every week, innit? We've run you into the ground these last 2 years. And we've also historically, in my opinion, done that with Ben White. Ben White's had a lot of injuries that stopped him kind of being fit. So you got my man that's not really fit, stop, start. Timber that's getting a bit knackered. With that being said, if you assume Timber's not playing, do you go for Ben White because we know where he goes? Or do you go with Mascara? At this moment, if everybody's fully fit, it's not that I don't rate Mascara, but Ben White plays for me. With everything I think I've seen and the fitness and whatnot, because clearly Ben White ain't fit. Or if he is fit, it's not significant minutes because Ben White could have easily come on against Everton. He clearly ain't got an hour plus in him. It's a 30 minutes at best type of thing. So with that being said, if both are out, it's a Mascara thing at right back against City, man. Odegaard and Timber are unknown for us. Trossard is in training. Same with White and Jesus. That's true. I noticed it, but I never realized the lower teams in Spain playing the lower divisions. Exactly. That's what they do, man. Like, and that prepares these guys for first team football, whether they're going to make it at their parent club or their first team at the club they're at or go elsewhere. Because that's also something that I think shags academy players, because not everyone can make it at Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, City. And to be fair, in terms of bringing all rounders out, I would say City and Chelsea, because goalies, defenders, attackers all kind of come out. I definitely think for Man United, and I can convincingly speak for Arsenal, obviously the way we play, the way we grow these man, 9 times out of 10, they're more 10s and cams and attackers, and they're used to playing a certain way. So then what happens? You might have for the last few years played in a 4-3-3, possession-based football. You go on loan to League One, they play 4-4-2. He don't really rate you in midfield because you're a 10 and you're not nitty-gritty, because this is what happened with Dan Crowley. You're playing left wing, you're not really making things happen from that position, innit? So it's interesting. Do you not think they will keep Ben White fit to be able to move him on in the summer to bring someone else in? To be fair with you, we need to keep Ben White fit for what's left of this season, but it'll break my heart. But I do think Ben White could be moved on because they might just be saying, you know what, maybe a lot of it is natural evolution. We're kicking on as a side. There might be an element of that. He's on big wages. You know me, I don't care what these guys make, but can't really bet on his fitness. He might be able to get a younger kind of defender on significant less money. I do think the priorities to be moved on are the Gabriel Jesus's, the Fabio Vieiras, the Reece Nelson's this summer. And obviously you could throw in Zinchenko, who's now gone. But I do think at some point, not that these players need to be sold, it's just football don't stop in it. And you look at Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, a couple of players where we kind of had to evolve when it didn't look like we were going to evolve past them, or they were the least areas to kind of address. The club might have a decision to make. If you could bring in a younger model that's got potential, you might say, you know what, Ben White's on 100 odd grand a week. Bearing in mind, I'm sure he signed an improved deal not too long ago. We might, if we get a decent offer, he can go. That wages can be reinvested. Obviously, Kai Havertz, depending on what happens with attacking options, clearly a good squad player, but the wages he's on, we might say, you know what, I don't think it's this summer with him and Odegaard and Ben White. Ben White's an anomaly. You get where I'm going. These are decisions to make. So I don't think these are guys that will force out the door, but will be receptive to seeing what can happen, really. But it'd be a shame, man. Like, because Ben White's been a tug for us. For someone that don't care about football and used to get killed for that, he's someone, if you get into a fight in a nightclub, you want him by your side, mate. Dowman should not start, come off the bench, manage him as he grows both physically and as a player. Don't want to work him down like Havertz. I hear it, man. I hear it. So, yeah, people, you lot heard me. Do you lot believe it's make or break week for Arsenal or whatnot, people? Because it's a big week, man. It's a big week. We all know against Leverkusen, we drew 1-1. We had 7 shots, 3 on target. Obviously, we've got it all to play for. We did rescue it at the death. And we obviously... Oh, what's going on here? It's annoying. It's an important week. Premier League action is taking a back seat for now. Obviously, we did what we needed to do against Everton. We've got Leverkusen tomorrow. We've got the final against City. After the international break, we've got the quarterfinals. The 11th of April is when we're back, people. So it's a good week, man. You know, it's a good week. You don't want your Champions League hopes to die. The minute you're in a final, it's bitterly disappointing to lose, and it's ecstatic when you win, and it might be able to kick us on. So it's a big week for us, man. Bless up DJ. Apart from Dowman, big up Arteta. He was seriously proactive. Shout out to him, because not everyone agreed with when Gyökeres... Who did Gyökeres come on for? Sorry, not Gyökeres come on for. There was a double change. I can't remember who, but Gyökeres, when Gyökeres came on, 2 subs were made. A lot of people were not necessarily happy with that. Next 3 games, the team needs to lock in. Therefore, not make or break. It's just another week. Technically, every week is make or break, but enjoy the games. People get too stressed. You're never going to stop stressing. You're never going to stop stressing people, if that makes sense. What is this saying? When can Arsenal win the league? After closing in on Arsenal are closing in on a first Premier League title in 22 years after opening a 9-point gap at the top of the table by beating Everton and seeing title rivals Manchester City drop points at West Ham. The Gunners have 70 points after 31 games, while City have 61 points after 30 games. Arsenal can finish on 91 points if they win all their remaining games. I don't think that's going to happen. While City can achieve a maximum of 85 points. And where the Premier League is concerned, Bournemouth at home, City away, Newcastle at home, Fulham at home, West Ham away, Burnley at home, and then Crystal Palace away. Obviously, City have more games than us, but they've got Chelsea away, which I think they're going to deal with. Arsenal, I think we need to win. Away from the title, I just want to win at the Etihad. We ain't won there since Santi Cazorla and Coquelin was our midfield options. Come on, if we're not going to do it this year, we're never going to do it. Burnley away, you never know. On paper, regardless of what City look like, you'd imagine it's a company derby, innit? You'd imagine City win that, but them relegation teams, whether they go down or not, this is when the freak results start happening, innit? Maybe relegation contenders, Spurs getting a point at Anfield. Burnley away, Everton away, come on, Moise. Brentford at home, Bournemouth away, Villa at home, Palace at home. For both teams, owing to where the Premier League's at, you can't really look at it and say, yeah, they're picking up points here, there, and the other. You just have to apply yourself properly. Chelsea have been fined 10.75 million and handed a suspended transfer ban over secret payments breaching Premier League rules. I don't know the impact of that, so we're not going to waste time on that. I just thought, let me mention that. We are going to get into Mikel Arteta's press conference, but apparently he said Timber is out against Bayer Leverkusen. We don't know if he'll be available for the League Cup final. I think with him, it'll be a matter of days, not sure. So you never know with the gaffer. The gaffer sometimes makes you believe players are going to be there, and they're not. Sometimes they've got no choice, no chance, sorry, of being there, and they are. If I take his words at face value as much as you can with managers, that tells me, like what we're just saying, in it, Leverkusen is too soon. See how his injury evolves. Hopefully he's about for Sunday, innit? Burnley, I think you mean could be down by the time we play them. Palace have little to play for. Them and they are playing for pride though, and the pressure is off essentially. So yeah, Odegaard's also out, people, as well. Not that we didn't know. And I made a TikTok about this. Yeah, away from everything at Arsenal, as dumb as this sounds, yeah, my defenders are all good. I like them all. Miles Lewis, Skelly, Incapie, Calafiori, Norgard if he has to go there, Rice if he has to go right back, Mascara, Benjamin White, Saliba, Gabriel, you know, big up Kepa and Raya, part of the defensive unit, and any name I've missed out. And they're all good players, in it. They're all, relative to their roles, they're all good. And they're all helping us. But I will never take, as dumb as this sounds, I know people don't want to praise footballers for doing their jobs, but as a 30-year-old Arsenal fan, like, I used to take defense for granted. And Lauren and Sol Campbell and Adams and Colo Torre, and I know people don't want me to mention his name, but Ashley Cole, all of these ones. That was at Highbury, innit? Fast forward and slap us to the Emirates, really the last 4 years. We've had, within the joke man, proper joke man eras, we've had some players that we thought were decent in defense. Sagna, for example, at one, we all rated Koscielny at one point. Vermaelen was doing the thing at one point. I might have missed out names, but it's nice to have so many of these players individually that if you was about back then, I would have prayed for one of you, let alone having you lot collectively. But that's actually not what I'm saying. What's actually, it's going to sound dumb, but to have defenders that actually want to defend, that would rather die than concede, you'll always have my... big them up in it. We saw Magalhaes obviously take one to the face, probably knock out his veneers. Hincapie's got about 20 million of these kind of things. Obviously, Calafiori with the Banduli, whatnot. I just big up my defensive unit. Calafiori did say, we love to defend our house, our goal, and we try to do everything. I think for me, it's quite new, what I did on Saturday, but I think Gabby is for sure the best in terms of putting his body to save our team. We need to learn from him. Obviously, he's a top player. I don't need to speak about him. I was so happy at the end of the game, especially with the second goal. We're all happy. We ran towards him. He's obviously talking about Dowman and the fans. It was almost a fight with the fans in a nice way. Obviously, it was amazing. Maybe the best moment of the season so far, at least in the Premier League for sure. I hear it, but for me, when I get away from the romance of Dowman, it was Newcastle for me. I'll be brutally honest. Big up Mavropanos. Arteta, would you have been... Arteta would have been a teammate of Mavropanos at some point, innit? Wenger's done it again. A very, very good character and a player that was signed before I arrived. He had a long-term injury. He didn't get that many minutes, but it's good to see him doing really well. All the players that have been with us, we wish them the best. Come on. That's 61.3 meters. That's how far Max Dowman carried the ball before scoring his breakaway goal against Everton. The Arsenal teenagers run now ranks amongst the longest carries leading to a goal in the Premier League. I mean, you seem to be the only player in our team that has that skill set, so keep working on it. Arsenal have scored 11 goals from substitutes in the Premier League this season, more than any other side. Gyökeres has bagged 3 off the bench. Marino and Jesus have bagged 2. Martinelli, Saka, Trossard, and obviously the young Max Dowman have all contributed to that statistic. It will pay off Eze sooner rather than later. He's had 6 shots from outside the box, 1 on target. Joint most by a player in the Premier League game this season. So let's see where that's going, people. Let's see where that takes us. We don't need to read that. I read that. It was a special night for Max Dowman and the club, obviously, in relation to Everton. What did Gyökeres say about it? When you see him play, you don't think he's 16. You don't think about it when he has the ball with the composure and confidence he plays with. It's incredible. To see him score that goal was amazing. He's been developing. He got an injury and was out for a while, so I didn't see him for a few months. But now he's back and he's playing still with confidence that he did before. He makes a lot of right decisions when he comes on the pitch. He's an incredible and very good player. Fair play. I feel good. It was a great ending. We enjoyed the last few minutes of the game. Of course, now it's a good feeling. It was a good place for the ball to arrive, for me to just be in the right spot. There was not so much work to do there. And I said in the summer, see the Gyökeres goal he scored against Everton? That's all I want. Like, I just want them ugly goals. If I want to see man playing beautiful, Dowman's there. Saka on his day is there. Eze is there. Rice, if you want to start scoring free kicks again. It's so ugly. It's beautiful. Gyökeres, the hard thing to do is put the ball in the back of the net. You keep doing that. Although we do all enjoyed your finishes against Spurs, I don't mind that because that's something we've struggled to do. But he's right there. But put it in the back of the net. Of course, it was an important goal. When the game is 0-0 that late, we needed to score to win the game, so it was nice. It's a very nice, important win for us at this stage of the season. We haven't got a game in the Premier League for a few weeks now. So I'm nice that we can sit in this good feeling in the Premier League rather than the reverse. So, of course, it was nice to get a win with that in mind as well. We still have a few games to go before the break, but a lot of important ones. Big up yourself, Linz. Hincapié is guaranteed. Vincent, we saying, my boy, big up DG, catching the stream late, but still buzzing about the win on Saturday. We need to keep being humble and take game by game. Burton needs to sign 2 Hincapiés, the Spartan. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you. And big up Hincapié. A lot of people say, oh, we need left back. Big up yourself, Riley. Monreal, Koscielny, Mertesacker, Sagna are all good. Hindsight, Koscielny's mentality weren't there. He was a bit of a pussycat, but he was decent in his day. Monreal, loyal serviceman. Sagna, snake, but loyal serviceman. Mertesacker did your thing as well. But it just weren't what we have now. Wolves had nothing to play for and drew to us, beat Liverpool. The players can play for pride and potential transfers. It's basically an advert. Look at Mansfield. True. Saliba right back. It's a no from me, man. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to start going with that. Martinelli needs to keep up the levels for Leverkusen. What do you think the lineup will be tomorrow? Who do you want to see? It's a techie one, man, because a part of me thinks it's a game you want away from it being a Kai Havertz derby. I just think Kai is probably the best one. You know, the Gyökeres off the bench thing and then Kai. I think I do want to do that, but then I do want Gyökeres to start. I can only assume as an armchair expert that Timber's not about. So what? Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, I would go Mosquera. Hincapié, Calafiori is a tough one, to be fair. Hincapié ain't put a foot wrong. Calafiori, I think you did well. How much minutes do you have in the legs? You know what? F it. I want to bring the game to Leverkusen. Calafiori, left back for me. Rice, Zubamendi, Eze. Oh, wait, hang on. You might play your whole hand. Let me revise that. Rice, Zubamendi. And it probably won't happen, but Rice, Zubamendi. Saka in the 10. Noni on the right. Trossard off the left. Gyökeres up front. Kai and anyone else I've missed out, stay warm. They should be seeing how good Hincapié is, man. We need a squad, and he's 23. Look at it. Man are not going to be here forever, but the age profile of our collective defensive options are great. Obviously, Gabriel's here for now. What is he, about 27? The others are slightly younger. We want Tross to play. I can see a low block. And I just think we need someone with a bit of magic. And I know he's kind of been off the ball, and if I'm honest, Trossard's kind of pissed me off with his decision-making of late, but whenever I talk about half chances, I do think about him. Sakadinho 10, Saka in the 10. The only thing that will make me change it, yeah, I do want to, Eze, I feel harsh dropping you because I do think Everton, the ball's on the floor, but step in the right direction. I would like Saka in the 10, but a part of me wants to go Gyökeres up front, Kai Havertz in the 10. Saka, it is what it is. They have to attack, so that plays in our hands. Even if they score first, can they defend well? We've got to box smart, man. It'd be interesting to see, obviously, tactically, how both managers set up, but also how the players, because they're the ones on the pitch, how they play, innit? Are Leverkusen going to take it to us and be like, fuck it, we're in your ground, we're on it? Are we going to be like, we're at the Emirates, fuck it? Are we going to be are both teams going to fight fire with fire? Or if Leverkusen come out the blocks, are we just going to, if it was a boxing match, rather than throw punches back, are we just going to bob and weave and pick our time appropriately? Or is, for Leverkusen, is that going to happen? It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be very, very interesting. Big up Mikel Arteta's post-Everton thoughts, but we want to see what you said now. Mikel asks his fans for all the energy in the world. We're going to need that in every game at the Emirates, but let's see what he said about Leverkusen. Saturday was obviously magnificent. We all know how good Dowman was, so respectfully to Dowman, we're not going to waste time on that because it's yesterday now. Timber and Odegaard are both out. He has said Trossard is feeling good and he's available. There's apparently no other injury concerns. On what to expect from Leverkusen tomorrow, very much the same. And watching them play against Bayern Munich at the weekend, very similar. So again, really well coached, a team with a very clear structure, really good individuals. Obviously, we're in a stage in the competition that we're in right now, so we know what we have to do. And in front of our crowd, with our people, putting all the energy in the world again, hopefully we're going to do it. Every feeling is different. We had so many beautiful moments throughout this period. The reason one, obviously, is the one that you've had more recent. That's why it's very special. But as I said, let's have another wonderful one tomorrow. On if there's any players who can mentor Dowman, we all know Declan Rice does it. And to be honest with you, I don't think Dowman needs mentoring, but I'd imagine there's not a single player that can't give him advice. And, there's a lot of good players that can go through their own experiences. There's many things Saka could show him. Rice seems like the big bro could show him. Saliba maybe. Everybody, man. You'd imagine everyone in that squad has a lot of time for each other. Martin Odegaard, whether people like it or not. My man's come from Norway, golden boy, didn't work out at Real Madrid, signed here with a bag of pressure. There's been good and bad moments. You know, there's all that kind of stuff. But I also feel a man has to learn on his own, and Dowman will. So yeah, he's basically said that. We've gone over Mavropanos. On the penalty appeal for Everton, that didn't happen. Watching it live, very disappointed that we didn't get a penalty because it's very clear on Odegaard's availability for Sunday. So we're really pushing. He really wants to try to be available, but we have to wait and see in the next few days when he trains with the team how he feels. We know the game that we're going to be playing in a few days again, and the more players that we have, the better. I love those moments, and when the team needs help and the crowd is pushing there, I think in any way that we could contribute, help, support the players, give them confidence and energy, we have to be there. I think it makes a difference. And we noticed immediately the moment the crowd got more relaxed, more positive, the atmosphere changed and the players started to make better decisions and we managed to win the game. On his emotions in this title race compared to previous years, probably the will to win increases year by year when you've been so close. But yeah, stay focused, live in the present, enjoy it as well, because we have to feel privileged where we are. And then obviously have that will, that bite to make it happen. On if Timber could be available for the final, we don't know. I think with him, it will be a matter of days, but not sure. On Benjamin White, he's in a much better place. He's been very unlucky this season in certain moments. He had very good moments as well throughout the season. So yeah, we need everybody available. We know what Ben gives us when he's at his best. He trained today. He feels good. So we need everybody's contribution. On what we need to do better to attack the block, especially in the first half, and especially a lot of actions that we didn't even finish. And we allowed counter-attacks there, which is the worst thing you could do against them as well. We will step up, we will make better decisions for sure, and be more of a threat in that intention. And what else? Depending on the game and how he reacts, I think his reaction has been really positive. And in relation to what we need in the game, it's always a possibility. That's with Dowman. He said, is he going to play regularly? Yeah, depending on what you call regularly. A lot of factors will contribute for us to be the quarterfinals tomorrow night after the game, and we need to put every single element that we have in our favor to achieve that. Big up Noni Madueke said, I think Noni's got personality, especially when things are difficult, to step in and make aggressive decisions. He has quality to deliver for sure. He's meaty on the left-hand side, but he did deserve his start. And Noni, you've been doing your thing. Relative to expectations and minutes played, obviously you're not scoring goals and really getting assists in the Premier League like all of us, but you've done okay, Noni. Like we've got, it's a lot more positive for you than it is negative in comparison to like a Saka or a Gyökeres when it's been this and that. Obviously, it's all adjusted, but you get the point. Obviously, we know this with Leverkusen, but they have a lot of quality individually in a lot of areas of the pitch. And like every team, they have their strengths and their weaknesses. I will try to target them. Would love Marley Salmon to get a few minutes again at right back, but how and when? Because if the game isn't put to bed, like you haven't scored 3-4 goals, I can't see that happening tomorrow. Eze can play in the 10 versus City in the final. Is it dropping or rotation? I'm not sure, man. If Trossard is out, put Eze left. Fair. Fair. I wouldn't be against that. Fair. What's Rooney said? Max seems from the games I've watched to not let that pressure affect him because he gets the ball, he holds on to it, he commits defenders, he goes to take them on, and so definitely he looks like he's got a bit of confidence about him. Mikel Arteta, some of the senior players in the Arsenal squad will not let him get ahead of himself, but I think you have to enjoy it as well. Sometimes people think that enjoying success is arrogant, and I just think they do it in the USA. They enjoy it and they celebrate it. So when we've got a young lad like that coming through as a 16-year-old, he's clearly got ability. You just have to hope he can go and fulfill that potential. Let him enjoy it and express himself. I mean, who better to say that than Wayne Rooney, which he obviously had a great career, but was also a 16-year-old, whatever. Now, it's been overdue, and I can't verify this because I don't know what's going on in Spain, but I saw this online that Luis de la Fuente is considering picking Raya as his first choice goalkeeper for Spain at the World Cup this summer after a series of impressive displays for Arsenal. I mean, it's normally Unai Simon, innit? What's this? Apparently, Liverpool, Arsenal, Bournemouth, West Ham, and Fulham are in the mix to sign FC Michelin star Dario Osorio. We've been linked with him before. His form in the Superliga has improved when compared to last season and below a few specific per game this season, first to point out. Okay, he's 22 years of age. 21 goals and 15 assists from 99 games. He's got 6 goals and 10 assists from 38 this season. Work in progress, someone that clearly fluctuates. Apparently, we are monitoring him along with West Ham and Fulham and all the other teams I've said. It feels like agent talk, but I don't know about that. What's this? Real Madrid are interested in bringing Odegaard back to the Bernabeu from Arsenal. Would you sell him? I don't believe this, but for what it's worth, if Real Madrid genuinely wanted to bring back Odegaard, would you do it? And how much would you do it for, people? You'd have to tell me. I mean, I'm puzzled and you know what? Yeah, I thought this was a penalty, but one thing that I didn't see when I saw it was this foot. Is what it is. We just have to control the controllables and do what needs to be done. Apparently, Hamburg want to keep Fabio Vieira, so Berta's job might be easier going into next summer, people. Over the weekend, I did see this from Sandro Tonali's agent. What has he said? He's still being linked with Arsenal and City, by the way. When asked about the move to St James's Park, the deal came about because a club like Newcastle, with unlimited financial resources, had decided to invest in Sandro. We considered the idea of having the player play in a higher level league. And then he said, when asked about potentially joining Arsenal City, exactly, that was the goal from the moment he went to England, to try to make him a star player, think he's the Italian footballer with one of the highest values in the world. To be fair, that's agent talk. The agent could be playing games with Newcastle to get a new deal, drive up interest from elsewhere. You get where I'm going. In England, the mentality is different, and every time Sandro entered the stadium, despite his suspension, he received a standing ovation from the crowd. We're talking about a guy who made a mistake, the fans noticed, and he was forgiven. Fair. And he is linked with Juventus. Whether Juventus can afford that is another thing. What is this? Apparently, Tottenham fullback Pedro Porro could be returning to Manchester City, which could give Arsenal an advantage in their pursuit of Tino Livramento. I think there's admiration for Livramento, but I can't see it. Arsenal could face interest in Kai Havertz this summer. Apparently, Leverkusen want to bring him back. Would you let him go back? And apparently Simon Roos, who was linked with the Berta position when we was looking for people, has said there'll be a conversation. I'm genuinely skeptical about bringing former players back. With Kai Havertz and Wirtz, I'd make an exception. Kai spent 10 years in our youth system. We maintain close contact with Kai. If the situation arises, we'll need to have a conversation. At the moment, however, he is in a different phase of his career and feels very comfortable at Arsenal. He left the club to reach the top of world football. Be interesting to see what's going to happen there, man, because certain offers, we might have to go for it. We have been linked with RB Leipzig centre-back Castello Luqueba. I mean, they're talking about 50, 60 million euros. Do I believe that? No. Man United could pip Arsenal to the signing of Nico Williams. Apparently, United are prepared to pay 87 million. I think we all expect to be linked with this individual. Kivio is drawing interest from Juventus. He will be joining Porto for an obligation fee of 23 million. So there could be a quick profit there. Unless he wants to stay at Porto because you're doing your thing. We've definitely gone over that. And if you've been living under a rock, apparently Arsenal have begun talks with Declan Rice over a new long-term contract. Discussions are described as being early or at an early stage, but the offer will include a pay increase on his current contract, worth a reported 240 grand a week. So he definitely deserves that. Probably draws in parity to Bukayo Saka. And apparently we've reignited our interest in Bologna striker Santiago Castro as an alternative to Inter Milan wonderkid Francesco Pio Esposito. Gabriel Jesus' future obviously is a non-starter. Listen, if you can bring Julian Alvarez and him and Gyökeres fight out, and Gyökeres is a rotationary guy, great. If you're going to go for, I don't know for this Santiago Castro guy, but a young kind of one that can kind of do what you see Esposito do at Inter, where he's not first choice. He kind of is a rotationary option. I think, listen, if Berta can bring me that, a left winger, centre mid, and a defender who's more likely to play right back or right-sided centre half if need be, it will go a long way, man. Thoughts on Saka as a 10 going forward? I'm all for it, whether it's him, whether it's Kai. I do think we're 90% of the way there. And that's something, the next 10% is obviously making our attack play greater, having different aspects to our game, having different bows to our arrows. And I do think Saka looks good there. I do think Kai and Gyökeres' relationship looks good there. Just having that ace in our pocket. 40 M's on the plane tomorrow. That's in relation to Odegaard. 50 million isn't enough. 80, 90 minimum. He would do a lot for them. Waking up to that clip of Gyökeres felt like a birthday present. I couldn't believe my eyes. Fair enough. His price must have gone up at Arsenal 70-odd million. Tonali should leave. Newcastle can't spend their Saudi money. They'll spend some time getting to be an elite club. Bring me Esposito. Wanted Sesko, got Gyökeres. Esposito has a future ahead of him. Kai is going to be a squad player at best. Fair. It'll be interesting to see what's going on, people. Unfortunately, though, I can't stay too long. It's time for me to go play five-a-side. But, there'll be videos. Make sure you're following on all the platforms. Make sure you're checking out the YouTube shorts and you're following on TikTok. I have to thank you lot for being here, asking questions, joining the debate, and just hearing me ramble, man. DG Nation, it's always a pleasure, man. So, yeah, on a serious note, hope the weekend was great in you lot's personal life as well as your football clubs. Hope Monday started in the best possible way. And I hope it just gets bigger and better, man. So you lot stay safe, stay in good health, and we'll link up again soon, man. One love. Max Dowman.
Against this right back, Charlie's definitely.
I've been given like it.